You're listening to The Hardpoint with Onexpunchxdad and Code Rome's.
Welcome back to The Hardpoint, episode number 35, baby. We are together. My name's Josh. I go by Onexpunchxdad online.
My name's Cody. I go by Code Rome's.
God, it's good to be here, man.
Yeah.
Feels good.
In person.
In live and in color, as they say.
When's the last one we did it? Was the last one when we were supposed to go to the show in Oklahoma?
I think that was the last one, the one that got derailed by...
You know, that was like episode 14.
That's crazy. That's wild. That was a long time ago.
We've had babies since then.
Well, you did.
Yes.
If I'm having more babies, that's a problem because
I've had babies since then.
I'm gonna have to give some away if I have any more. No, you did, man. That was back in like March, I want to say, and we've been doing virtual episodes ever since. I moved. Yeah. I think I lived in a different house when we did that last one.
Yeah.
And yeah, you had a kid. We've gone through a lot of life changes in 2024.
We got pretty good at the virtuals, though, I think.
We did. We locked it in. We knocked those out like cake, but clearly...
That Wingstop coming up?
Yeah, a little bit. We went and got Wingstop. We got a pregame with a little bit of food, and I went with some of the hottest wings I've had in a while.
Was it the spicy Korean or was it?
So the spicy Korean, which everyone got, was hidden for sure. Everyone who had some, you, me, and your wife, remarked that I guess they're maybe hotter than they normally come.
They felt a little extra sauced up.
Yeah.
This time, maybe.
Maybe Sunday is like, hey, give it a little bit of extra. And then I got in their top hot tier, they have a Cajun spicy one, which was pretty good. It was a little more tangy. I think I wanted it to be sweeter.
Yeah.
But oh boy.
Yeah.
Lit me up pretty good. So that with the Korean barbecue was probably not a good podcast pregame, if you catch my drift.
Well, it's okay. You sound great. You look great.
Thanks.
At least we're not pairing it with beer.
That's true. Beer makes you burp.
They forgot. No, they didn't forget. They remembered the ranch.
They did remember the ranch. The last time we had Wingstop, which I want to say was the last time we recorded here, they committed the unforgivable sin of not including ranch in a massive order of wings.
Right. They're prepackaged special that came with ranch.
Yeah. Now, the ranch is not free.
No.
Like, you get the complimentary ranch, but beyond that, you're paying for the ranch.
Right.
But it seems like at a wing restaurant, every order gets kicked out of the door with some ranch.
Yeah.
It should.
It should.
I'm coming around. So I think the last time we had this conversation, we ate at Wingstop, I was firmly planted in it comes with sauce, and therefore it's good to go. You don't need the ranch. It's not a deal breaker. But I do enjoy the ranch, I think.
Yeah.
It definitely adds.
Yeah. Well, and if the chicken's not, as you recently also learned, if the chicken's not very good.
We got to talk about that.
The chicken's not very good. You do need some ranch.
So Cody, if you've been listening to the show for a while.
If you know me for 5 minutes.
If you've known him he introduces himself. Hi, I'm Cody. Have you ever been to Bellevue, Texas? Cody is obsessed with this town between where he lives and I live called Bellevue, Texas.
Yeah.
It's literally a blink and you'll miss it. Like, stop on the road. There's no stop sign. There's nothing to avert your gaze to this town besides a tall blue water tower.
Yeah.
That's really the only like landmark of note here. But they have a store there called, what is it, the Eagle Mart?
The Eagle Mart.
The Eagle Mart. And it's very charming. It's a charming place to stop. The vibe in there is very mom and pop. And it's nice. It's, I used their restroom. It was very clean. They actually have a spot on the wall where you can, it's like paper and you can like sign. And there were people who were like, hey, from Georgia and stuff like that. People passing
the bathroom, you got to walk like through the back, kind of like you feel like you're kind of going somewhere you're not supposed to go.
Yes. The men's restroom is in like if they were going to store a body, you're in that quadrant of the building.
Yes.
But it's all clean. It's not too dicey. And then they have as a lot of gas stations in this region of the world do, they have the heat lamp glass case filled with only fried food, not a single nutrient to be seen.
Yep.
So I stopped there today because I was like, I'm gonna see what all the hype is about. What's got Cody stopping here every single time?
Mm-hmm.
Even
if I don't need it, even if I don't want it,
he's stopping in
I'm
Bellevue.
paying him a visit.
It's in the route.
I put my maps there first and then continue my journey forward.
Yeah, and then see where things go from there, right? So I stopped there, take a leak, and I haven't eaten all day, so I'm like, I've been good. I'm gonna indulge a little bit. I'm gonna get probably some chicken strips. So the gentleman working the counter sees me eyeballing the fried food, comes over there just as lively and as country as can be, and asks what I want. And I tell him I'm kind of looking at the chicken strips. Hold on.
Do the accent. I can't do it as good as you can, but you hit it perfectly earlier.
This dude, like, I don't know if he like rehearses it in the mirror before he goes to work, or if it's like he's been selling this stuff for so long that he's just got it committed to memory. Probably that. He's like, hey, partner, I see you looking at the food. If I can, I'm going to recommend fried chicken strips. I hand batter them myself every morning. And I was like,
meanwhile, it's 5 p.m.
yeah. It's literally like they've been sitting a while. They look good. They look okay. They're pretty decent size. Yeah. You know, it's like a tenderloin.
Sure.
That's been fried. So I'm like, I'm sold, man. Let's get some chicken tenders.
Yep.
It's $8 for 3, which is absurd.
Dude.
And we have this exchange where we're like talking about the sauce. He asked me if I want ketchup or barbecue sauce. And I was driving, so I didn't really have the like dexterity to like drive and dip. You shouldn't dip and drive. So I tell him, I'm like, nah, man, if they're as good as you say, they don't need sauce, right? And he was like, that's how I am, man. That's my thinking exactly.
That's how I take them.
Yeah. So I take the dry chicken strips, pay my $8 for 3 of them. And as soon as I bite into these things, it becomes quickly apparent that I feel very bad saying this, but these things were terrible.
They needed sauce.
And I told Cody, I was like, if the guy wouldn't have taken it as a personal insult after our conversation about sauce, I would have absolutely strolled back in there and said, yeah, I'm going to need the sauce after all.
It is. It's like going in a time machine when you go in there. Like that guy is something out of a movie. And the whole, the accent's perfect. I couldn't quite do it when I was describing it, but that's I'm glad you got to like experience what I've been talking about.
It was very charming. And I'm sure had I not gotten just the chicken strips, I might have had a better. I mean, they had others. They had like fried okra. They had steak fries. I don't know, man.
I batter these every Sunday.
Yeah. Last Sunday,
it's
maybe.
Friday.
Yeah. I don't know. So anyway, I stopped in Bellevue, and I gotta say, man, I'm probably just gonna keep driving next time. But there's nothing there, man. There's nothing there.
Okay.
And I will
You're
say,
right.
I'm gonna say this. We just ate some really good chicken from Wingstop. It made those chicken strips feel even sillier.
Yeah.
The whole time I was eating Wingstop, I was like, "This is what chicken's supposed to taste like."
Yep.
This is it.
I'm not necessarily saying there's anything in Bellevue. I think the reason why I'm so fascinated with it is because there is nothing there, and people choose to be there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and
why?
Not to mention like to get to the Eagle Mart, there's like T barriers all along the side of the road. So you have to make these really abrupt turns onto the access road even to get to it. So it's not like you don't just like fly off the highway into a parking spot.
Right.
You have to maneuver to this place.
Yes. Giant potholes.
Yes.
Gravel parking lot.
Not well taken care of. But
no. You know what's funny though is so there's the Eagle Mart and then our direct competitor next door, some other Mart.
It's like Valero or something. Yeah.
But it reminds me of, and this is going to be for like 3 people, but when you're headed to our grandparents' house out in Baird in the middle of nowhere, like Baird's already in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then they live way outside of Baird.
Yeah.
But anyways, off the highway, when you find your exit,
there's
these, is there 3 now?
There's 3.
Okay.
There's the Loves on the north side of I-20. And
Okay.
then there's an Allsups and like another
Yeah.
mart of some kind
Well, the what?
on
Yeah.
the south side of the
So I guess the
highway.
Loves you could lump there, but the two I'm talking about, they're literally in the same parking lot.
Yeah.
So,
Those are the two-
separated
yeah.
by like a 6-inch curb.
Yeah.
Maybe. And there's not enough going on out there to support two.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Directly next to each other.
And it's kind of one of these where like if I need, like, how do you choose? I'm driving, I need one of them, and I'm kind of like,
I've definitely been like looking for something specific, like, I don't know, a loaf of bread or whatever. Gone into one, realized they didn't have it, walked out and gone to the other. I don't know. Maybe they have a deal. Maybe they're like, you
Yeah.
guys keep this stuff. We'll
Yeah.
keep this stuff.
maybe they should just combine forces. Be
Yeah.
one supermart,
Build a hallway.
an underground.
Oh,
An
Yeah.
Oh. An underground tunnel.
I got
that
excited by
connects
that
the-
actually. Like a secret passageway, like where they have like shiesty meetings and stuff.
That's funny.
Anyway, yeah, we made it down to Dallas. I have a work trip, so
You're
I'm down here for a couple of days.
you're checking out specialized top secret
Exactly.
missiles.
That's exactly. Nailed it. I'm down here for work, but
Mhm.
I decided to have a little pleasure as well. So,
Swing by.
swing on by.
Appreciate you swinging by and
and I
hanging
got-
out with us.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I wanted to say I got to meet your daughter finally.
Yeah.
She's an angel. She's amazing.
Is she as described, as billed?
As advertised.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. She's very funny. Cody had mentioned that she's kind of goofy, and I was like, oh, babies are kind of funny. No, she's a little extra funny. No, she's sweet. She's so tiny, man. And it is crazy thinking about having that around all the time.
Yeah.
Again, I know we had a
Yeah.
conversation about like, do I miss the little baby
Yeah.
years? I absolutely do, but no, they were not all good all the time.
Right.
So
That's what I this can go for pretty much anything. This isn't that unique of a statement, but I like the fun times, but the not fun times are like really, really not fun. I value my sleep,
yeah.
and I'm sure as a lot of people do, but I really
I
value it.
value it a lot more, bro.
But yes, I know that once she gets a little older that I'm gonna miss it. I gotta say, Josh is great with babies. Great with babies.
I'm the whisperer, man. I've got 4 of those things.
He really is.
My youngest is 5. I there's a lot of things that I can't do, and honestly, like once she gets about 2, she probably won't want to have anything to do with me. But before then, me and her are gonna be good pals because
Yeah.
I am really good. I think it's because I have a deep voice.
Yeah, if
I
I
can-
soothing.
I can calm a baby pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty good at that. That is a
I knew you had gone through that 4 times. Like I didn't doubt your ability to interact with a baby, but before you have kids, that doesn't
you don't know how to
register
be.
with you. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I've never noticed you with your kids and thought you were good or not good with kids. I've never thought that either way.
Right.
And then you have a kid and you realize there's something there, and then I seeing people interact with my daughter, people who I've seen interact with kids before that I haven't thought twice.
Yeah.
It's more interesting after
Yeah.
I have one.
Yeah, because you're kind of like, you are kind of taking it like a lot of, when I get a baby in my hands, like I revert to being like my mom. I remember
Right.
her being, I remember being a baby, but you know what I mean? Like, you're all goofy with them,
yeah.
but yeah, man, you pick it up over time. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? They match we already talked about, they match
Yeah.
your energy. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a pretty chill household, so
Yeah.
it's been
it is
Relatively
It's
chill.
I walked in, all the shades were drawn. It was completely dark in here. It's like
That's new.
a vampire dwelling.
normally we're shades open, all the natural light people, and we've drawn the shades, boarded the windows, lights, turned the lights off, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
dark, quiet, and cold in this
You
house.
guys thought Cody was pale before. No, it's very
That's
cozy.
Probably the worst gene that I've passed on to my daughter.
She's pretty pale, man.
Pre-apologized to her many times. I'm sorry for the life.
It's all right, man. Fair skinned it's a look. It's a look. I like
Oh.
it. All right. I would like to talk about, because I think we could probably have some crossed streams this week.
Okay.
What are you crushing?
All right.
All right.
I'm going to tell you what I've been crushing.
All right.
It's not okay. It's actually a single. I crushed one time because there's only one unit
Right.
of Crushids.
Crushings.
I'm prepared for the flack that I'm going to receive.
Yeah.
On this one.
You always say that.
Yeah. You know, fearless is one word they would use to describe me in this segment. You know,
so brave.
Yeah. So I watched the Nickelback documentary on Netflix.
Wow. I didn't even know that was the thing.
Dude, so they actually shot it in 2023, but it's new on Netflix.
Just came out.
What are your thoughts on Nickelback?
So there's two bands that, well, really three, I think, if I think about it. There's three bands that came out when they came out. Everyone really, really, really loved them.
Yeah.
And then they went into this period where everyone really, really, really fucking hated them.
Yeah.
And now they've kind of returned to prominence.
Yes.
And are basically just like have been kind of relaunched into the stratosphere almost. Those three bands are Limp Bizkit, Creed, and Nickelback.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. With Limp Bizkit and Nickelback, the hype scene's warranted. Like I've seen footage of both those bands playing shows recently.
Yeah.
And it high key seems like a pretty good time.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
It looks pretty good. I don't want to listen to them on my own. I would not probably put anything that's not like Nookie from Limp Bizkit.
Sure.
Because that song is actually a pretty heavy nu metal song. Other than that, I'm not putting them on my own free time.
Yeah.
But if you gave me a free ticket to see either of them, I'd go.
Okay.
With bells on, for sure. The only band in that whole demographic that I kind of am not hyped on their return is Creed. I don't like Scott Stapp.
I have a note about Creed here in a moment.
I don't like that they are kind of back. I like Mark Tremonti. Mark Tremonti, if you're a guitar player, he's a great guitar player. He is actually absolutely very talented. Scott Stapp is a joke to me, and I really get the sense that the rest of his band is kind of embarrassed by him.
You might not be too far up. I'm gonna circle back to Creed.
Okay.
Let's start with Nickelback.
Nickelback. Sorry.
All right. I'm gonna tell you my thoughts and my history with Nickelback, and then I want to talk briefly about this documentary.
Okay.
I am low key like a closeted Nickelback fan.
Like even through the hate?
Yeah. I've never ever understood why people hate them.
Okay.
So just like everything else in my life, I go through waves. It's not like I'm listening to Nickelback all day, every day, but I've had phases with them. Now, let me say right off the bat, I hate Rockstar and I hate Photograph. Those two songs.
Those are bad songs.
Can suck.
Those they should never hang their hat on those songs.
Yeah, they have way better songs.
Yeah.
Rockstar. But
how are you gonna do it?
I have gone through phases of, dude, Nickelback makes great fucking songs. I don't care what you say. I saw a shirt the other day and it said Nickelback, fan or liar. And I think that is so spot on. You can't fucking tell me that they make shitty music. They just don't. Okay. So I like Nickelback. Now, I didn't know much about like the band members or their history or anything. I just knew they had good music, in my opinion. This documentary, it starts off with them right before fame, like them, like, dude, they grinded as a band early on. They're like three dudes that grew up together in a tiny town in Canada. Mm-hmm. Two of them are brothers. The lead singer, Chad Kroeger, and the bassist are brothers.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. And then the guitarist, they all went to high school together, grew up together, buddies. And so it starts off before their fame, grinding, in a van, driving from small club to small club, calling radio stations, trying to get their music out there. Like they were not like an overnight success. Like they grinded for years with nothing. And then they had this meteoric rise. And then all the hate came. And then now they're, like you said, they've kind of made a full comeback. People love them today. Even the next generation loves them.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could hate them. They are the most likable, down-to-earth, humble guys ever. For like considering what they went through, the rise and the fame and the fortunes, dude, they are just like the lead singer Chad is kind of a partier.
Yeah.
But the other guys, they're like married. Two of them have been married like the entire time.
Wow.
One of them, his brother, he was talking about their heyday, and he's like, we didn't really all have the same idea of a good time. He's like, so in between shows, we didn't really hang out. He's like, I'm a big fan of staying married, so it's probably not a good idea to go out with Chad, or whatever. He's like, they just all kind of did their own things, but they're all really likable. Even to this day, they're just like down to earth dudes. So I don't know how you could hate them. And then another thing that I know is a big deal to you and me, the turnover rate, dude. They changed drummers one time. And besides that, for 22 years, it's been the same original 3 and the 1 replacement at drummer.
Huh.
So the same, basically, core 4 guys this entire time. And they make good music. And this next statement I'm about to make, don't twist what I'm about to say here. There is some James Hetfield in Chad Kroeger.
Dude, okay. I wanted to talk about that because there's one of my favorite things that Nickelback has out there is they're playing a massive like arena and they break out into like out of nowhere, they break into Sad But True.
Yes.
And they absolutely demolish it.
He
It
sounds
is
awesome.
so great. It's right in Chad Kroeger's range.
Yeah.
And it's heavy. Like
Yeah.
it is. I mean, Sad But True is arguably one of the heavier Metallica songs.
Right.
We've had that conversation
Yeah.
about like what is the heaviest song. That is certainly a contender.
Mm-hmm.
And they give it the
Yeah.
good treatment. You know what I mean?
It's good. There's another, they cover the Four Horsemen.
Really?
Yeah. Which is an oddball song to cover.
That's a deep cut.
So Chad Kroeger, he's tall.
Yeah.
He now, at least, this wasn't always the case, but now he dresses like in all black. If you see him at shows nowadays,
Right.
all black. He has the black wristbands on, just
Hey.
like James. He'll be playing like an Explorer.
Yeah.
You know, got the mic a little lower than normal.
Okay.
And if you
He's
if
embodying
you
Papa
watch,
Head.
he's a performer, man.
He's got
Like,
the short hair now.
yes. If you watch him play, he's got mannerisms and just like things he does on stage as he's playing that, to me, remind me of some things that James Hetfield does on stage.
I could see that.
So I'm not saying
I can see
he's whatever. And I also got to say, and I'll kind of put a pin in this. If you are the lead vocalist and you play guitar, you get all the cool points in the
You
world.
get bonus
to me.
points for that right out of the gate.
That's one thing about Creed. If you watch a band that is like a 5-piece and the vocalist is just microphone guy,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's kind of awkward though. It can be awkward. I watched a video of Creed playing recently, and
Yeah.
it's just seeing Scott Stapp in his extra small shirt up there, like not having a lot. Yes, dude, literally, it's weird. But Chad, he's playing and singing, and so there's a certain level of like talent that is required to do that. I think it's awesome, man. I love Nickelback. This documentary, I challenge anybody to watch it and then tell me you don't like that band afterwards.
I'm glad Nickelback is back. I will say it. I'm not trying to be a bandwagoner because I did go through a period. I went through a period where I hated anything that could be considered radio rock.
Yeah, for sure. And they are. That is what they are, for sure.
What's happening, and we talked about this several episodes ago when we were talking about like Kubla Khan and all them kind of coming into the zeitgeist or knocked loose or whatever. Those two things, like underground heavy music and pop rock,
Yeah.
are starting to converge a little bit.
Yep.
And you know, you have like your Bad Omens, which are one of the biggest like heavy music, or what's a better, Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
One of the biggest rock bands working right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or what's Ronnie Radke's band? Falling in Reverse.
Yeah.
Right? That music
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, or 15 years ago even,
Right.
was not ever going to be like popular.
No. Yeah.
So, and also I'm 36. I'm going to like what I like. And, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let someone tell me that I can't. I literally had, when I got into underground music or
Right.
like super cool music, whatever, I had people tell me like, you can't listen to that. Yeah. And you'd be amazed how much stuff fell into those categories.
Right.
That before was like, that's really cool. Like Mudvayne. I had a kid tell me, he was like, you shouldn't listen to Mudvayne. I was like, why? He was like, they're radio rock. Okay. I never listened to him again.
I find that
Like a dipshit.
I was thinking about that when I was seeing it was the hate portion of Nickelback, and this doesn't apply to everybody, but to me it doesn't make sense, and I'm guilty of this. If you're a fan of heavy metal music, that's a branch of rock.
Yeah.
It's an evolution of rock. It's weird to me to hate rock just because you like something that's heavier than rock.
Right.
It might not be your cup of tea, but it's like it's the same thing. You know, they're born from rock. So to hate it is weird to me.
I can see a piece of it being that I think my generation and beyond has kind of started to look at like rock star behavior.
Yeah.
Like not like, okay, Chad Kroeger likes to party.
Sure.
Like the Axl Rose throwing
Yeah.
TVs out of the hotel room,
Yeah.
like snorting coke off of someone's butt crack type of stuff.
Right.
Like that kind of stuff is not like, we do not attribute that to like, oh, that's a good band anymore.
Right.
If anything,
Right.
that's just aberrant behavior at this point.
Because at the time it was rebellious and it was something that people hadn't really seen. So that was probably a draw to it.
Exactly.
But now everyone just realizes that you're a fucking douchebag.
Yeah. So we don't really look at the rock star lifestyle as
Mhm.
being, and there's also this added thing of like, a lot of these bands, like even the ones that are really, really coming to prominence, you know, the more human they seem
Right.
off stage, like Nickelback is a prime example, the more people are going to be drawn to that. I
Yeah.
think that's why people do like these bands that are like off stage. They're just
Right.
dudes
Yeah.
living their lives.
Yeah.
Dudes or dudettes, whatever. But I'm with you on that, man.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you a hard time. What did you want to say about Creed though? You had a Creed caveat.
Boy, I think I just watched Scott Stapp looks, there's something going on with his face. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on. And I watched a video. It was like on I don't know, Good Morning America. I don't know. It was on some
Think he's
like
had some
TV
work
show.
done?
Yeah, he's got some stiff face going on there,
Yeah.
stiff jaw. But the shirts, I'm a fitted shirt guy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock anybody for wearing a fit. He wears like it's a size too small, man. Like it is,
Hugging the trunk.
dude. It's so tight on him, and he does this thing where like it was higher, and it's kind of like the
Right.
and then the you know when it went distorted or whatever.
Sure.
And he did this like thing like this to the crowd right when it dropped.
Get out of here.
And it was really funny looking. They're not nearly as cool as Nickelback.
No.
I can't hate on Creed. I low key kind of Creed was a part of my childhood. My dad listened a lot.
Sure.
I don't hate Creed. Their songs, their music really gives me a lot of nostalgia.
Higher is a heater. I mean, to me, it's like Friends in Low Places, right? Like if
Yeah.
Higher comes on, we're all singing it.
Right.
They do have some good, like heavier tunes too.
Yeah.
Like they have like some that are kind of like,
You're like, damn.
yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit. But overall, like it's that thing, right? Like you see Scott Stapp and just how ridiculous he is as
Right.
a person.
Yeah.
And it repels me a little
Yeah.
bit, man. I also I'm disappointed that like Nickelback has continued to grind through their perceived like we hate you phase.
Right. Yeah.
Limp Bizkit stays putting music out. They
Yeah.
actually have continued. They put a record out in 2022.
Mm-hmm. So did Nickelback.
Creed did nothing.
Right.
Creed is 100% riding the higher wave.
Yes. They don't have any more.
No, they have not put out any new material, and they think people are just okay with them singing higher
Right.
for the rest of their lives. Give us something more.
Yeah. There's a song. I'm going to send you a Nickelback song. It's called San Quentin off their newest album.
I think I've heard it. It's kind of heavy, right?
It's kind of heavy.
I have heard
and then the
this song.
concert, or not the concert, the chorus. Dude, it's good, man. I've been
Okay.
jamming it. It is a fucking bop.
Okay.
So go Nickelback. I thought I was going to meet a lot of resistance from you. I
No.
pegged you wrong. I appreciate
I'm growing
the,
older and wiser.
Yeah, man. It's
Growing
good.
Older and wiser.
It's good. But that's it, man. Nickelback, the documentary specifically. Go check it out.
Series or just a movie?
It's just a single. It's like an hour and a half, but it's so good, man. I enjoyed every second of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
That's my crushage.
Your
What have you been?
Crushage?
What did we say last week? There was
Crushins?
you said by I don't know. There's like a play on words by
Crusheth?
maybe.
Crushies? I don't know.
Never mind. What are you crushing?
So I made a bold declaration last week. My family is out of town. Got the place to myself, so I can watch whatever I want like a big boy.
Hell yeah.
As advertised, I fired up The Boys on Amazon Prime. I watched season 1 during COVID. I think we both did.
Yes.
And decided that, it's really, really, really everywhere you look right now.
Yeah.
The Boys is, I'm very anti FOMO. I don't really get sketched out of like, oh, I'm missing the joke or I'm missing anything. There's also this sense because there's so many like memes and they're on TikTok and they're everywhere and you're just constantly seeing like Homelander and all this stuff.
Right.
Like, I feel like I've kind of already seen the
Sure.
show and it's kind of been ruined for me. I actually knew how season 2 ended before I watched it.
Okay.
I have watched, since we last spoke, I have watched everything that has been released so far from The Boys. They are doing weekly releases for the current season. I don't know if they've always done that, but they're doing it right now. They are up to episode 6. So I believe there's 2 more that will come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Man. It might be one of my top 5 shows that I've ever watched.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really
Quite the
love
power
it.
run you just went on watching everything.
I laid into it, man.
Yeah.
I really did. I slammed on the gas and didn't let up. You picked it back up as well. You're a couple episodes into season 2.
Yep. I watched 3 so far. So
Okay.
I got 4 coming up next.
How do you feel about those?
I like it a lot. I watched season 1 and I loved it. I remember as I was watching it, I just remember it's always stuck with me as something I really enjoyed. And like I said in the last episode, there was a lot of time between season 1 and 2. And when 2 came out, I just remember trying to watch it and not knowing what was going on.
Right.
And not really caring. And so I kind of left it.
Yeah.
And since then, 3 and 4 have come out.
Right.
To be honest, if you hadn't kind of swayed me to pick it back up,
I don't think
I ever would have.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did. It's very good. I can see why you binged it. If I didn't have like things going on right now, I would absolutely lay around and watch every episode till I was caught up.
Oh man.
On paper, of course we would love it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you described what it is to somebody, it's right up our alley.
Well, and it's crazy you say that because like it takes a lot of what you like you said on paper. You know, I've always pretty well enjoyed like at least like action. I like superhero stuff. We both have talked about how we've kind of fallen off the Marvel train quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
DC's doing whatever they're doing. I honestly think this is the best game in town as far as superhero stuff is concerned. And it's funny for me to say that because it is subverting literally every premier superhero that you can think of. Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, The Flash, all that stuff. They're taking all of those kind of like that pantheon of superheroes that we've had, and they're not without any regard of like, well, he's a Marvel guy, he's a DC guy. Then they're just mashing them all together and just imagining, wouldn't these people be awful? Wouldn't they be like the worst thing to happen to us? And it is a very, it's crazy how they balance like heartfelt moments, terrifying moments, and genuinely funny moments.
Right.
But I remember texting you, I think I was maybe halfway through or a couple episodes into season 3. And I was like, dude, I have cheered out loud numerous times just tonight watching this show.
Right.
There are so many moments where it's normally someone awful gets some degree of comeuppance.
Right.
And you're like,
fuck yeah.
Because there are some truly diabolical people in this show. Like awful. Like some of the, I mean, bless the actors, but some of the worst characters. I mean, worst as in like morally corrupt.
Yeah.
Outright vindictive and evil. So to see characters like that get
what's coming to them.
Most of the time chopped in half or blown. Mostly like I can almost like I've gotten to where like I can predict when someone's gonna explode in that show.
Do you remember this isn't really a spoiler, it's way back in season 2, but it's the CIA agent that they're meeting with.
Yep.
And they go to meet with her and her nose starts bleeding.
And then her head explodes. Yeah. That is
like,
a
holy shit.
Without spoiling anything, that continues to happen to people. Yeah. Stuff like that, man. Like it's
that bar was set pretty high though, because what's not Billy Butcher, but the other like the kid. Huey's girlfriend, like early on when A-Train
just ran through her.
Yes, and just obliterates her. So that was set, I think that was episode 1 maybe.
Yeah, that was literally like how the series started. It's a messed up show. I will say if you are easily upset by obviously like graphic violence,
right?
Like they zero punches pulled in the nudity, people getting messed up, blown up, torn apart, heads cut off, blown off. And also there's a lot of mention of like sexual assault and, and you know, a lot of that stuff trickles into, but like I always remember like hearing about movies that are rated NC-17 growing up. This show, if that is still even a thing, this show is like, we don't even care about that.
Yeah.
There are so many like at one point there's a butthole on the screen. And you're just like,
what?
Yes. And like an actual human butthole. And you're like, these guys can do whatever they want.
I guess if you're a streaming service and you're not,
the rules don't apply.
Yeah, you're not you don't have to abide by the TV laws or whatever. A butthole.
Straight up, dude. It is extremely, it's just like they don't give a shit. There's a lot of really like icky stuff in there, man. But it all kind of serves like the narrative in a weird way.
Right.
I'm there for it, man. I'm loving The Boys.
It's like we didn't know that the title was actually just telling you the target audience.
Yeah.
The boy, you know.
We love buttholes.
It's gonna take me a little bit, but any spare time that I have to myself to do with what I so please, it'll be spent watching The Boys.
It's a worthy crush, man. It's definitely like, I will say the reason I waited to watch it is because it is not anything that my wife would enjoy. I think we watched the first season together. And I think by the end she was like, "Oh, we're done. Good, good. On to something a little less."
I told my wife, I was like, I want to watch this show. I don't think you're gonna enjoy it though, you know. And I was like, I just don't know when I'm gonna have time to watch it. And she said, "Well, we can watch it together, and I'll be on my phone." So so.
Okay.
First couple of episodes, I'm like, okay, so we're watching it, and I keep kind of looking over, and she's buried in her phone, of course. But and then like a head explodes, and I'm just like, did you see that?
Let me back it up.
I just keep thinking that I'm gonna see her like, what the fuck is going on right there? Yeah.
It would be an absolutely bonkers show to like pop in on, just like halfway through.
So you're not watching it with your 10-year-old?
I am not watching it with my son. I think he would be okay. I think the violence to me is honestly like, there's very little of it that's like squirmy.
Yeah.
It's not presented in a way that feels real. And maybe it's because a lot of the people, like when they get blown up or their head blown off or they get ripped in half, it's with the superpower.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like, it's I don't know. The way it's portrayed is almost like South Park levels of like goofy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Over the top, like video game style.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't, or maybe I'm just desensitized. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah. No, it's the gore and the violence. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like when someone's head just randomly explodes in the middle of a sentence, you'll still go, "Oh shit," you know what I mean? But yeah, you kind of. That's not the stuff that really like shocks me.
Dad, is that a butthole?
He ain't ready for it, man. He ain't ready for it. I ain't ready to explain that. Anyway, The Boys, I'm loving it. 2 more episodes for me.
Nickelback and The Boys.
Nickelback.
Get you some.
Nickelback is for the boys. The Boys is for the boys.
There's a song in one of the episodes. It's like season 2, episode 1 or 2. The subtitle popped up and said "Pressure." But it's the no, it's got a boy. What is that fucking instrument? It sounds like a harmonica or something. You
lost me, bud.
Damn it.
Do you like that song?
I liked it on that episode.
Okay. There's good music on The Boys too.
Yeah,
it's got a good soundtrack.
If I had my phone, I'd play it for you right now. Well,
crushed.
Consider yourself crushed.
Break time. All right. We never did nail down what we're talking about.
No, but we are at 40 minutes.
Oh, wow. We are pretty meaty. Everybody sucks. Anus. Cody, you have continued your slow trudging playthrough of Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
You care to catch us up on your exploits in that game?
That's actually a perfect way to describe it, because the gameplay, it's slow and it's trudging. And kind of what got me thinking about it was the kind of just all the intense what's the word, like gore and just
the
like,
violence
the
and
violence
stuff,
of the boys. Like I sent you a picture last night
drenched in blood.
of my screen, and dude, it is just it's brutal. It's fun. I feel like it's the first just very like linear story driven game that I've played in a while.
Yeah.
And it's also the first game in a while that I've stuck with and actually want to play. Kind of feels like a challenge. The story is relatively compelling.
Right.
It's nothing crazy. I wouldn't even say that's like my favorite part about the game, but it's kind of hard. And so it feels like I want to see this thing through just from the challenge aspect of it, you know?
Right.
I just got past this part that was really hard. You enter this room and you have to like fire up the power.
Okay.
And of course, the guy that you're working with or whatever is like, oh, the power has to warm up for 5 minutes, you know, and then just conveniently you're gonna have to hold everybody, you know, it's like this wave of enemy thing. And dude, it took me several tries, and I finally had to look up a fucking video of just like how do you do.
I don't feel like that's a cop out when it comes to that.
If you've tried a couple times and you're just like, and it's not a cheat code, you know, and it wasn't even one of these like glitches where somebody's like, go stand in this corner and the enemies can't touch you, you know. It was just like a strategy. But they had this gun, it's like a gravity gun in that game. So you can pick up enemies, and then I don't know why these things make sense. I guess it's just for the game, but they have these like electric spikes on the wall.
Yeah.
And then they have these like giant gears that are turning in rooms and stuff.
Okay.
So you can pick up enemies and just like
put them on that.
Yes. And they just obliterate in a glorious pile of blood.
Oh, very good.
It's really fun, man. It's really cool. I'm hoping maybe tonight we can run 20 minutes of it. Just kind of
I'd love to check it
show
out.
you what's up. But yeah, I think I'm about halfway through.
Is it spooky? Because like you have it set up in here. This is kind of your office or whatever.
Yeah.
My assumption is you're in here, only your screen providing the light.
I'll have red behind the screen, but
do you? Oh yeah, so to match the blood.
Yeah.
Do you get like like do you get
Yeah. I'll tell you why, because I'm playing late at night typically.
Yeah.
I have the door shut, all lights off except the screen, and then the back lights with headphones on.
Yeah.
And I'm, right, it's a big monitor. I pulled up to my face. So like all I can see is like all my
VR. Yeah. That's all
poor
that
man's
is.
VR. Yeah. And I get the volume, I don't max it out.
Right.
I like my hearing, but
Yeah.
a relatively high volume.
Right.
There's a lot of jump scares.
Yeah.
It's not horror scary. Like there's nothing, at least that's been introduced so far, like paranormal or anything like that. It's just monsters. The sound design, you're crawling through a lot of vents.
Okay.
And so like the metal creaking and then bending and then hearing like something, like run past you and like a vent next to you banging or like, or something crawling next to you. The camera, it's third person.
Yeah.
You can't change the view. It's really tight on your character. Like it's like a very close personal shot. And the movement's kind of slow. So like when you drop out of like a shaft that you've been crawling through onto the ground, the camera will be like this, and it'll kind of like land, and then it'll slowly look up, and then there's like a second before you have your controls again. And then you'll kind of, turn to where you're supposed to go, and there's something like,
oh God,
right in front of you. So it trains you to always be like, something is about to happen.
I'm gonna out myself here, man, because I've never really played. I played one Resident Evil game, and it was 5, and that one's not like a very like. That was kind of when they had started like this weird, almost like they became a shooter at that point, right?
Yeah.
I think I am afraid to play these types of games. I think I legitimately like hearing you describe that, watching people play Dead Space.
It's very Dead Space.
Yeah, watching people do that is, I don't know if I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy it, but I am afraid to play it, especially like by myself.
I don't know why I like it. I don't know. So I'll out myself. Last weekend, I got to a point where I was like, I can't play this anymore. Yeah, dude. Like it was late. I feel like when I start out, I have like, here's my fear meter. I can take, and as I play this, it gets chipped away at, And I hit a point where I'm like, I'm good. I've reached my limit. Like it's 2 a.m.
Can't go
You
any
know,
further.
like, yeah, I already have to walk from here through my house to the back of the fucking to the bedroom.
Turn your phone flashlight on.
Dude, like, yeah. So it's bits at a time. I played a little bit this morning, significantly less scary on a Sunday morning
Yeah.
than a Saturday night.
Yeah.
But it's pretty creepy, man. The sound design is crazy. I think the headphones and being in a dark room, like, I think if I played it like with my wife next to me during the day through the TV sound, like it wouldn't be
Different story.
nearly, yeah. But it's the way you set yourself up. It's good though. It's really fun.
Callisto Protocol.
You should give it a go, or don't. I don't know.
I might.
We'll give it a run tonight.
I'll
and
dabble tonight.
It's very brutal. It's very fun. It's very linear.
Yeah. Is there the story's pretty good? Like just
Yeah. I mean, what you're introduced to in like the first 30 seconds is you're this cargo shipper. Is that the right word?
shipper. Yeah.
You ship cargo and you go to this jail and something happens and you get like there's something aboard your ship that they take you in. So you're like, I'm not supposed to be here. And then, you know, whatever. Past that, you're like past the opening scene or
Hijinks
whatever.
ensue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm about halfway through, but yeah,
Okay.
lots of fun.
Interested by that, man.
Lots of fun. Now, the thing that's also very scary, the way this office is set up,
Yeah.
is so I sit. Those cameras, the main one,
Yeah.
is at my desk.
Yeah.
And then the doors you can see are directly behind me.
Right.
So I have this thing where I'm constantly like,
Checking the door.
because I'm just scared my wife is gonna like come in and just need something or walk in here. But if I look over my shoulder and there's somebody there, I'm going to throw something. So I can't see behind me. It'd be one thing if I was like here and I could see the
Well,
doors.
because you've got the eye adjustment too. Like if you're staring at a bright screen in a dark room and you turn around,
and there's a figure.
yeah, it's your eyes are still adjusting at that point. So even if it is your wife, she might get.
You're probably getting hit. I have this even when I'm working during the day. I'll have my headphones in, and I don't like the entry point to my office being directly behind me because I can't see.
I see.
Anyways,
I want to check it out.
give it a go,
I might give it a go.
or don't. I give a shit.
Or don't. I don't give a shit. All right.
Right in.
Let's do some write-ins. This first one comes to us from Snakebite Pain. Thank you for writing in again, Snakebite. It's always good to see you. My dog, my dude. Chief, your Walmart story hit me right in the feels. If there's a literal hell, it's having to shop in Walmart for eternity, waiting on other shoppers to move out of the way. I feel so seen right now. My question is this. If you had one superhuman ability, this is very apropos for our episode. We're talking about the boys and superheroes. If you had one superhuman ability to handle that situation, what would it be?
Snap my fingers and make somebody's head explode.
Yeah. But then you got head juice all over your
That's a good point.
Your can of black beans or whatever you're trying to get.
Maybe just the ability to like turn invisible and walk through somebody without them knowing.
Ooh, okay.
So I can
just
just
like phase through them.
Do my thing and just they wouldn't even know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So accomplish my goal with zero confrontation.
I could see that. That's a very like hands-off kind of way to
Mhm.
achieve that. I have always thought it would be maybe from a narrative standpoint, because obviously like the ideal version is it's just like persistent. You can do it as much as you want. But like if you could take momentary control over a person,
okay,
like just snap your fingers.
Yeah.
And you got 10 seconds of their full range of motion, motor skills, all that stuff. If you could just like snap your fingers and they just like move out of the way.
Move their ass out of the way.
Yeah. Or
that's pretty good.
And then you know what? You were in my way. Bark like a dog when you get there. I get 10 seconds. I get you out of my way. I get my bag of pasta and move along.
Okay. So once you are no longer assuming control of them, do they
kind of
realize what happened? Or
they kind of come to, because superpowers clearly don't exist.
Sure.
And they're just like, I don't remember pushing the cart over here. That's weird.
Yeah.
And then they just move on with their life.
Okay. I like it.
They're none the wiser.
It's more fun than mine.
Yeah. I think it'd be nice too, because like there's multiple applications for that, right? Like mainly just getting people out of your way.
Yeah.
But like You ever been at the DMV and they won't do something
Yes.
because you don't have a form or something? Or if you could just like
do it.
but then you only got 10 seconds. Whatever they're doing.
Do it now.
But if you so if it's print me a new license
Mm-hmm.
and you snap your fingers and they get 10 seconds into it and they come to you and they're like, what am I doing? You're like, oh, you were making my license.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they just continue on their own.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Maybe we bump it up to 20 seconds just to be safe.
Yes.
Or
Until you're done doing what you need.
yeah, that would be ideal. You're just going to do the whole task. And then when I snap my fingers, you get your agency back.
With mine, though, you could walk right through like bank vaults, get rich, and you'd never be confined to a jail cell ever again.
That's true. Both you and I have kind of gone to a crime place with this very quickly.
How will this serve me?
Yeah. I mean, I like to think if I had my ability, I wouldn't abuse it, but somebody would.
Mm-hmm.
If you could
See
make
Homelander.
Yeah, exactly. If I was invisible or could turn it, like if I could turn invisible and walk through walls, is that like your power?
Yeah. Yeah.
You basically just become like ethereal, like
Pretty much. Yeah.
like a spirit or a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah. You can go through barriers and you can be invisible.
I-
Ooh, but this would be tricky. You can only do one or the other at a time.
Oh,
Not
so you have
both.
to become visible to go through a wall.
Yeah.
And then you can go back invisible.
Yeah.
I feel like I would find every restricted access door I've ever found in my life and then just go through it.
Yeah. I'd go where you're going tomorrow.
It's not one of those places. What is with you? Invisible would be neat.
Yeah. Okay, if you could only have one or the other, invisibility or the ability to go through anything.
I feel like if I could go through anything, running from the cops gets infinitely easier. But
Yes.
if I could go invisible, I wouldn't need to run. So yeah, I got to go back with invisible.
What thing would you do with invisibility that's not like stalkish, creepish?
I
Like-
always like anytime I go through like the power fantasy, like what if, it's normally punishing bad people.
Okay.
So like if someone's like does something awful to someone I care about,
Mm-hmm.
you can't slash people's tires anymore because everyone's got like a ring camera
Sure.
on.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's probably too hard to get away with that now.
Yes.
Unless you're invisible. And then all they see is a floating knife, slash all their tires, and
Yep.
write dickhead on the side of their car.
Mm-hmm.
The knife falls on the wall. You don't want to drop it because then
Mhm.
there's like fingerprints and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or are there?
Whoa.
I mean,
If you're
Okay.
invisible, do you have fingerprints?
here's another question. If I can go invisible, is everything I'm wearing invisible? If I touch you and use my power, do we both go invisible? Or do I have to be, for the power to truly manifest,
be nude.
do I got to be naked?
I think that's actually probably how it would work. Because you have invisibility, not
Not your
clothes. Yeah.
I think in like, what is it? The Incredibles, the
Yeah.
daughter can go invisible. And so they make her a special
a suit. Yeah.
that can also do that, which
Yeah.
is kind of,
I don't think I'd be going. How often would you be even going invisible? Like, that's kind of a beating. Just getting nude.
yeah. I guess you could get naked all the way down to your shoes.
Yeah.
And like if you had to run from the cops, it would just be a pair of shoes. And so they're literally just looking for like a pair of loafers or
Yeah.
something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could like go behind someone's house
Yeah.
and then just like stand next to the concrete like you're the like
Like somebody
lawnmower-
dropped their shoes
Yeah,
off.
yeah, like you know.
You're standing like this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay,
That's good.
this could work.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. What was the question?
Thanks, Snakebite. This one's not really a question. It's just kind of a statement. I gave my grandpa a coin. It's from username Fetusnuke. Fetusnuke.
All right.
Fetusnuke
My boy
2025.
Fatu Snook.
Fetusnuke. Don't know how to say your username, man. Sorry. I gave my grandpa a coin I earned while I was deployed, and he served in Vietnam. And he thanked me and said this is the nicest thing he has now from the army, and that made my heart hurt, not gonna lie. Thanks for bringing the vibe down.
Well, is this? I thought it was a happy story
It's
to
not.
begin.
No.
Okay. Is he saying the army just never did anything for
I
him?
think
Or
so, yeah. You know, we grandpa's brother, Uncle Jerry, was in Vietnam, and he got, I guess, kind of done dirty.
Really?
And so he like doesn't have anything to do with it, doesn't have any like flags or anything in his house. He's very much like, but he was like killing VC in Vietnam. Yeah.
You said that they got treated very poorly, the
Yeah.
soldiers, when they returned.
Yeah, like they got treated poorly by the public because everyone thought they were baby killers, and it was, you know, like a whole thing there. But also, like, the army apparently was just not taking very good care of people.
Dang.
Because they had this like the draft that brought tons and tons and tons of dudes in.
Right.
You know,
just
so
didn't take care of them on the back end.
No, it doesn't sound like they took care of them. So, hey, real talk, man. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your story, though.
Thanks for giving your coin to your grandpa too, man. That is really good. I love seeing the generations of service members show kindness to each other. But you did bring the vibe down, so minus some points. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna get canceled over this shit, man. All right. Thank you, Fetu Snuke 2025. Brad Rules, my man Brad Rules is back.
Big dog.
With another one. Might be late to recommend for a recommended game for whoever is on. It's on sale on Xbox. Ghost Recon Wildlands. So we talked about this one. Did we talk about Wildlands on the show?
It's made it to the show. I don't know how deep.
So I got
mentioned.
on my birthday, or around my birthday, I got real sick. I got some kind of nausea. Something crawled up in my guts and died. And I was puking and I was pooping.
Number 3.
And I was laid up. Yeah, it was number 3, man.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. And I got on Game Pass and just wanted to see what was around and try some stuff out. And I remember you had said you had enjoyed Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah. Used to play with a buddy that I worked with many years ago.
I loaded it up. I'm getting like deja vu. Did we talk about Wildlands?
I brought it up because I had said that I downloaded it when you said you downloaded it, and you're like, well, I deleted it. We haven't talked about it in depth, but it's been brought up on the show.
But here's what I'll say. It is a fairly tight over-the-shoulder shooter. I like the mechanics where you can kind of order your squad around.
Yeah.
And the way you can mark targets and kind of time like sniper shots and get your operators in place and do kind of like stealth kills and stuff like that. There's no like hub world that I know of. Like you're out in this open world, and that's very cool. If I'm in an open world, I need an area that's like a home base, safe house,
right?
Place where I can take my crew back and recollect.
Yeah.
Or upgrade my weapons.
Right.
Or take a nap, you know?
Right.
Drink some coffee if it's Red
Let
Dead.
your guard down a little bit.
There's nothing in that. This game is literally, the story itself is literally, and there's a day-night cycle too, which is like, it completely doesn't matter if all you're doing is, you literally go from mission to mission to mission to mission.
Right.
It's literally just an endless game loop or gameplay loop. I didn't like it. I fell off of it very fast.
What did you like when you did like it? Because you liked it enough to text me about it and say, yo, this is kind of cool.
I liked the first few missions. I think as an idea, it was pretty solid. But I think once the gameplay loop made it, like, revealed itself, I did start to realize, like, oh, this for 60 to 80 hours would get really old really fast.
It is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's clear this area, secure this area.
Because it's made by Ubisoft, I think, who made The Division. The Division does have like a hub world that you kind of go back to and kind of like
can re-up and
you kind of stage up with your buddies and stuff, and then you go back out and you shoot people. But
that game should have been better too.
Division?
Have you ever played it?
I played it with you once.
It's cool, except they're like it's a like a platform. What is it?
It's like a loot. They call it like
a loot and shoot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say platformer.
It's kind of like Destiny-esque.
If it could have been what it is, but
better,
not a loot and shoot. Like if I could kill somebody with one shot via headshot, then I think it could have been a lot better. But I don't like the loot and shoot part. But the idea of it with your friends and in the city, and you gotta like, it was a cool idea. It just didn't execute very well.
I will say this: Bullet Sponge that's almost an immediate guaranteed bounce off for me.
Me too.
I mean, like, I understand boss fights or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I'm shooting, I'm just waiting for this health bar to go down. There's certain exceptions to that. But if it's me shooting another dude in the head and he does not die.
And his health goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm out.
That's dumb. That's
Yeah.
so dumb to me.
I don't. It's not like I need it to be like life realistic, like real life. But that's so unrealistic and dumb to me that I just can't get behind
It's
it.
incredibly just like it takes me out of it. Like anytime, like a lot of games where like you shoot a guy and numbers fly off of him for like his health points. That's, I think, the only game I've ever been able to stomach that does that is Mass Effect.
Yeah.
And that might be the only one.
I enjoyed back to Wildlands for a little bit. I think the open world is pretty cool. I do like the idea of like you're taking down these people and trying to kind of work your way up a chain to take down the big guy.
Right.
I never made it that far.
It was almost kind of like Far Cry does.
Yeah.
Does that.
Yeah. I think it is kind of fun with a buddy because you can hop in vehicles and you can say, okay, let's do this mission. And then you can come in from different sides, or you can kind of formulate a plan to execute this. That part is cool. But if it's just you and you're just kind of like going from place to place, securing to securing, it can get old really fast. Now they have another one, Breakthrough.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's any different.
It feels like I've watched some gameplay. It seems like they added some elements. I know I've seen like a video of like operators like laying on the ground like in the mud, and he's like rubbing himself with mud and doing like.
I feel like it could be cool.
I feel like it could be.
A lot of those graphic videos that are like max settings and the thumbnail looks photorealistic.
Yeah.
A lot of those are Wildland or Breakpoint. Is it
Breakpoint? I think.
Breakpoint is right. Yeah.
Yeah. I would get into it maybe with a buddy. I guess it would just kind of hinge on our ability to align our schedules to play. We need to start gaming together, man.
We do.
We've been sleeping on that.
Let's do it.
Agreed. Hey, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode of The Hardpoint. We will be back next week for episode 36.
Yeah.
Virtual again. We're going to start trying to get more of these.
Yeah.
We're legitimately in the room with each other.
I just touched him.
I touched him back. This is a good feeling. If you're just tuning in with us, it just got weird. Hey, thanks you guys for tuning in. Hit us with some more of those write-ins. We love doing those. Yeah.
Write in, subscribe, comment, like,
review,
email us, DM us.
The baby's mad.
I hear my baby crying.
Great. I don't know if the mic picked that up.
Just do all those things.
Do all those things. Want to wish you all. Oh, the light behind me is Baja Blessing colored. I like that. Did you notice that? He did that on purpose, huh? He did it on purpose.
Maybe.
Baja Blessings on all of you. See you next week.
Get fisted.